Welcome to On Thick Ice, a podcast about navigating relationship intricacies by two people who are just trying to make one work. I'm Emily.
And I'm John. Each week, we'll be tackling the pressing issues we all face in our relationships but rarely address head on.
So I don't know about you, but I am a big fan of marriage. Being so intertwined with another person that you have to get the law involved if you want to break up is a pretty great feeling. What I am not a fan of, though, is weddings. We, especially women, are told from a young age that your wedding day is going to be the best day of your life. You should fantasize about what kind of dress you're going to wear, what flowers you're going to carry, DJ or band, black tie or cocktail, chicken or fish. It's the culmination of your love story, the single most defining moment in your relationship. Except it's not. I'm here with my controversial hot take. Weddings are the worst. Having your own wedding, going to other people's weddings, movies about weddings, it all sucks. Where did all these ridiculous traditions come from? Why is the food always so shitty? And is it just me, or is the whole thing kind of culty? Let's talk about it. All right, quick disclaimer. This is going to come from a very, heteronormative bride and groom look of things. That's just because traditionally that's where all this shit comes from. We are 100% supportive of same-sex marriages. Just for easeability, we will be using the terms bride and groom throughout this episode. So we're not homophobes. Don't come for us.
Yeah.
Okay, so the one thing that bugged me the most about having my own wedding, like when we were getting married, was not understanding why I was expected to do things a certain way. And these traditions and all sorts of things. I still haven't been to a lot of weddings in my life, to be honest. And I didn't quite get it.
I think I've been to an equal amount of weddings as I have funerals.
That checks out.
And I think I've enjoyed them all about equally. Yes.
Yeah. Just, there's so many things that you are just expected to do. And
like wear a suit.
Like wear a suit,
To both.
Yes. Exactly. Same suit,
Eat
usually.
shitty food at both.
Yes. See family that you don't want to see at both.
Go to one place to say words and then go to another place afterwards.
Yes. Wow. That's true. That's something we should have looked into.
Should we just short circuit this and just buy plots, like coffins, plots? I think we wasted a lot of money on the middle man here, which is the wedding.
We should have just gone the Schrute way. Married in your own graves.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there goes the intro. Haha. Weddings, funerals.
It's all the same.
Angela, brownies. Sorry, had to do an Office throwback.
Of course. It's not an episode of this podcast if we're not referencing The Office.
I apologize ahead of time to anybody who's listening to this. I am dealing with the seasonal change,
Yes.
and I am very flimmy. My apologies.
John is sick. He needs the Mucinex booger.
I'm not sick. I'm just going to get married.
Yes. Okay, so anyway, there's lots of little things, and you don't really think about them, I think, until you're engaged and you start planning a wedding. And I got really caught up in, before we actually decided what we were going to do, all just this stupid shit that I was like, why am I expected to do this? So I thought maybe we should go down a rabbit hole, a deep dive, a timeline of the origins of wedding traditions.
Okay.
Find out where they come from, and see if we jive with them.
Okay.
Okay, so
I'm intrigued. I know a little bit about this stuff,
yeah,
just the very ceremonial aspect of courtship and,
yeah,
it's, I don't know. It's just very property driven, very weird to me.
Let's just get into it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start with weddings themselves. So the idea of tying yourself to another person.
So I guess we're getting to the actual, today, what we did later. Or the
Yes.
that aspect of
Yes.
it. Okay. I just don't want to short circuit.
We're going historically. Okay.
Good. Let's do it.
So weddings started about 23,000 years ago when humans started to stay put and farm. So Mesopotamia, create culture, things like that. Men would go out to work, women would stay home, and marriage became a necessity for men to make sure that there was someone watching over their children to keep their bloodline going. So it started as a necessity for men to bear their seed and keep it safe and feed it.
Okay.
And then it evolved in some cultures into a religious ceremony, political tradition, monetary exchange of land and property, like you were saying, sometimes for love, but mainly an exchange of power.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the OG wedding.
Well, I'm a little confused.
Okay.
So I was brought up thinking that the original wedding was a club that a caveman held and hit woman on head. That to me said marriage. That was the first, I think.
Well, we're going through human evolution here, if you're going that way, because yes, men have been hunters, women are gatherers. That's where that originates from. But in terms of a cultural event, the beginning of human culture was when we stopped moving around and stayed put and started to farm.
All right.
So I could go into every different type of wedding and all those things, but it would take forever because every country, every religion, every culture has a different way of doing it. So that's just where it originated from.
Got it.
So anyway, let's move on to the veil.
Okay.
So this pains me because I loved my veil, but the veil came about because the groom couldn't see the bride before he married her, so she wore the veil over her face until they said their vows, so just in case she was ugly, he couldn't back out of the agreement.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, in my defense, a traditional veil covers your face. Mine did not cover my face. It was a gorgeous cathedral veil that John stepped on and ripped, but that is neither here nor there.
It was ripped before I got to it. I'm sticking to that story.
So yes, that's where the veil covering your face comes from. Make sure you're not ugly, you can't back out.
That's interesting.
Yeah, right?
So is this like the original, like, what was the game we were just saw, the not newlyweds? What Bachelorette #1? Like you can't see.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this is like the first like
dating game,
but very real. Like
yeah. The OG Love Is Blind.
Now you're stuck, and she's bucktooth. And cross-eyed.
Yes. So that's where veils come from. Cans on the car bumper. I don't think anybody does this anymore.
Yeah.
But I just think of Michael Scott.
Yeah.
Going
that's
to
exactly
a wedding.
Where my brain went. Yes.
Yeah, I don't think anybody does this anymore, but that came from an old French tradition of banging pots and pans on one's wedding night to ward off evil spirits.
Interesting. It's kind of what I used to do at New Year's.
Or if you're from Philadelphia, when the Eagles win, go outside and bang your pots and pans.
Yeah. That's poor man's firecrackers. I mean, come on.
Exactly.
We all have pots. Well, most of us have pots and pans.
The cake. Wedding cake. Apparently, cakes represent fertility. So this started in Roman times, where they would break the cake over a bride's head to help her get pregnant.
I wish there was like a noise for confusion. This is where we need sound effects. Yes, my face said it all, but I couldn't share that with everybody. My apologies.
Yeah, that was okay, sure.
So we're breaking a cake
over her head
to
make her fertile.
And what part of that makes sense? Like, was there more? Like,
no, it was like a wheat cake, and like wheat and cake represent fertility. I guess that's where like the smushing comes from too, like breaking over the head or smushing the cake in the face thing. I mean, the fertility thing makes sense to me.
I'm not seeing how cake got involved in this.
Look, ask the Romans. I wasn't there.
There was no further explanation as to why cake equals fertility.
No, it just apparently cakes represent fertility, or at least did for the Romans.
Interesting. I mean, they
bun in the oven.
They lived a different life, but you know, I mean, a life of indulgence, and I suppose in those days, like being a little heavy was actually seen as a wealth.
Yeah.
A sign of wealth. So I guess cake is just a weird way to rub your wealth in your wife's face.
I guess. I don't know.
Or break it over her head, or
look, I'm not a historian.
Are we still eating the cake?
I don't know if they ate the cake. It just says they broke it over her head.
Here's your sex cake. We're gonna eat this one. Like, this, I need to know more about this.
You're gonna have to do a deep dive separately.
All right. So many questions.
All right. This next one is the Romans too, but I think a little less confusing. The phrase "tying the knot."
Okay.
So that comes from the Romans. During the ceremony, they literally tied the bride and groom's hands together with a knot. So
okay,
that's where that comes from.
Mm-hmm.
Wedding rings.
I don't really have a lot to say about that. Okay.
No, it makes sense. Tie them together.
Yeah.
Wedding rings. The ring represents no beginning and no end.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes. In ancient times, brides would wear papyrus rings on their wrists and ankles, but our friends the Romans switched it to iron rings on fingers.
I might expose how ignorant I am about history, but didn't they like bring the Iron Age to glory?
I don't know.
I don't either. So I'm just thinking
It's been a long time since I take AP World History.
that was just another power move in my opinion.
Right.
Iron. We're changing this. I wish they would have just stuck to the old way. I mean, then we wouldn't be spending thousands, tens of thousands, what is it? 3 months salary, some shit, 3 years.
No, it's 3 months.
Okay.
Michael Scott said 3 years.
Yeah, okay.
A lot of this, yeah, God, Michael. Anyway,
3 years salary.
Jeez.
Yeah, that'd be a fun ring.
Holy shit, is that real? Okay, flower girls.
Okay.
Which is, I just never had any desire to have one of those.
Yeah.
Again, this is our friends, the Romans.
Didn't we have like a forced upon flower boy?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. And again, I guess we go back to those like, why are we doing these things to appease everybody else?
Exactly.
So okay,
yes.
Continue. My apologies.
The Romans started this shit. This was.
What are we talking about again?
Flower girls.
Okay, flower girls. Got it.
Young virgins would carry wheat to bring good fortune to the couple.
So we're going back to wheat again.
Yes. I'm telling wheat's the thing.
Like gold of like the ancients.
What happens if you're gluten free?
Right? It was a big concern back in those days, as I understand it. If you were gluten free, you just had a shit life because you can't get married.
Yep.
You can't be a flower girl. Like
you can't eat a bagel.
Yeah. Always a nothing at a wedding. And
yeah. Throwing rice. Again, I don't think this is something that people do anymore since they found out it kills birds.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So
Pigeons,
birds are real.
Yeah, pigeons eat the rice and they die.
Oh my God.
It short circuits their computer system.
Oof.
Either one. It didn't say where this originated from, but it's another fertility trick. Pelt them with rice so he can get her good and pregnant. Maybe because like plants grow and are seeds and sperm is seed, and I'm trying to find the justification. I don't know.
There's a lot of food.
Yes.
Involved here.
Yes. That's what I'm saying.
It's obviously something that people need, but I don't know. It's weird to me.
Yeah. Something blue. I didn't get something old, something new, something borrowed, but something blue is a symbol of faithfulness. That dates back to the Virgin Mary, who is often depicted in blue, which is ironic since she was married to Joseph and had God's kid. But, faithfulness, sure.
Yeah, I'm not touching that one.
Maybe you're supposed to be a virgin on your wedding night, whatever.
Yeah, what does that mean? Like, did you say represented as blue or something?
Depicted in blue.
Depicted? What does that mean?
Like pictures of her, like art and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
She's wearing blue.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'll go with it.
Okay.
I don't know much about these things, so
you didn't grow up Catholic.
No, and I don't remember your eye color, much less what the fuck she was wearing. Apparently, always. Does she have wheat and rice coming out of her fucking ears?
Probably.
Well, she must have, because she was like the most fertile of all time.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. She just walked by a fucking bus station and got pregnant.
Anyway, honeymoons. This was a lot more literal than I thought it was going to be.
Well, is this just like get it done, like start the process, make baby now?
Well, just listen.
Okay.
Back when people used to use the moon as a calendar,
Mm-hmm.
couples would drink mead and honey during the first full moon of their marriage, and that was their honeymoon.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
How
So-
how that evolved into
Bora Bora.
yeah, I don't know, but I'm glad it did. That was the best part of our wedding.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I mean, I think just cut the wedding and
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This is gonna keep coming back to that.
yes.
Bouquet. So I'll tell you what I thought the bouquet came from, and then I'll tell you what it actually came from. So I once heard that carrying a bouquet came from trying to hide the bride's BO. Like have a nice fresh set of flowers to hide the fact that you stink. And that's also why like a June wedding
Mm-hmm.
is like a thing, because people would take their baths in May. So in June you would still be clean-ish. But apparently it's just another fertility thing. Flowers, sex, night stinks. Exactly.
Ah. Yeah, I just couldn't imagine like. And what time frame is this? This is
I didn't give a time frame.
like
But
when were people taking like quarterly baths? Like
probably in like the 1500s and stuff.
right.
I'd say like Middle Ages, Renaissance.
I like. I'm just thinking of like the stock market. You get your quarterly earnings statements.
Quarterly stink statement.
Man, in this last quarter, man, we went up and whiff. Woo! our EBITDA is under the crotch, next to the taint.
Lord help me.
That is a hot zone. I'm sorry.
You are fucking fired.
I mean, come on. You just gotta think like no central air, like
Yes.
no air. I mean, soap. All right, go. Sorry.
So anyway, that was just what I thought. And apparently that's not true. But it couldn't have hurt to have a nice bouquet of nice smelly flowers in front of you when you don't know what deodorant is. And finally, bridesmaids and groomsmen. I find these very funny.
Wait. Did I glance over what the actual flower thing was?
Oh, fertility.
Oh, again?
It's all fertility. Get her knocked up.
I mean, are we just like picking random objects at this point? Like,
Yeah.
here, take this pen. Fertility.
Pretty much.
Push this mouse button once a day. Fertility.
Ask anybody trying to have a baby.
Don't-
There are plenty of things that people will try.
Only drink alcohol. Fertility. Brain dead baby.
You could get really drunk. That worked for a lot of girls at my high school. Okay, bridesmaids and groomsmen. This is my favorite.
Okay.
So for bridesmaids, where that came from, I think this was a pagan thing. So women all dressed the same to confuse evil spirits and protect the bride. So same color dress, same everything. I don't know if maybe they would wear white and then it evolved. But I find that fucking hilarious. Like, could you imagine having to throw down with a ghost on your friend's wedding day? Just confusion on John's face.
Yeah, I got nothing. When did this start?
I said I think it's like pagan, so like I don't know what that time frame is, but
Okay.
like
So
same people who started like Halloween.
So wasn't that like frowned upon, like this way of thinking in those days?
I mean, if you were like Catholic, I guess. I'm not saying it was everybody. I'm just saying where it came from.
Yeah, no. I'm just thinking like out loud, just rationalizing it for myself. Like,
Of course, there's always going to be people that frown upon you thinking that spirits are real, but that doesn't mean that it's not a thing.
I just thought they were like burning women at the stake, like for shit like this.
They were in certain cultures, but not in others.
All right. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. Groomsmen is kind of similar, but also funny to me.
It's goblins. I mean, can it be like ninjas or something? Can we fight off something cool?
Almost.
Oh.
There was an ancient tradition of kidnapping brides.
Okay, we're going back to the office.
Exactly. So the groom would have warriors with him to fight off anyone who might want to take her. And then I wrote, like Mo, stealing Angela and putting her in the back trunk of his car. So groomsmen were to prevent the bride from getting kidnapped. I could not imagine a single, maybe Rob, one of your groomsmen, saving me from getting kidnapped. I think Rob and Anthony would be the only ones who gave a shit enough to save me.
So this was this was a thing?
Yeah, it was a thing.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Let's just take a bride.
Take a bride. Why not? She's worth money, right? Someone's got to pay the dowry.
You know, it blows my mind to just think like these things didn't happen that long ago.
Yeah.
Like you look back 100 years and you're just like, wow, how barbaric was that? And then you look at today and you're like, oh, this is great. This is nothing like back in the day. And then 100 years from now, it's going to be like, God, how barbaric was that? Oh,
yeah.
But people had to wait at DMV.
Well, that's why
They had to get married.
That's why I wanted to go through this, because like really, like you do all this shit and you're like, why am I doing this? What relevance does bridesmaids have to me today? What relevance does holding a bouquet of flowers have to me today?
Now,
None.
you know what? This is exactly why I do things the way I do them. I always ask the question, why? Everything I start, I ask why.
Yes.
And 9 times out of 10, you don't get an answer. That's just the way you do it.
Yeah.
Challenge the system.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So anyway, basically it all comes down to a bunch of sexist fertility shit. Like who would have guessed? Who would have thought? All right. So all that being said, going through the traditions, I'm just going to defend my position, and I think we share the opinion that weddings just suck in general, right? Let me try to defend my opinion.
No.
First.
I agree. I think it's just like that well beat in thought that these are things you need to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't. I'm an extreme planner.
Yes.
I enjoyed planning.
Yes.
I enjoyed everything coming together. I loved that aspect of it. Did I enjoy spending tens of thousands of dollars on people that I just really didn't need to impress any more than I already had? No.
Yeah.
I did not need to do all of that. And did it make me feel better that any of them were there? I mean, maybe like a mom, because even though like we're, inching our way away from tradition, our parents are still traditional, so we have to respect a little bit, I suppose. But all the rest of the crap, fuck that.
Well, here's my thing. Weddings are obviously very popular. People have them, people love them, people love to talk about them.
It's a business.
Whatever. Exactly. I'm just going to defend my position that weddings suck. I'm going to go through points as to why they suck and maybe convince people who don't agree with me, or maybe not, but I'm just going to share my opinions. First reason having a wedding sucks, you kind of touched on some of them already. They're super fucking expensive.
Yes.
They are so expensive. Like, not even to mention the big stuff, like the venue and the food and the bar and all that stuff. Think of all the little shit that you have to buy that you never use again. Like, fuck, all the paper, save the dates, invitations, programs, the fucking flowers, the bridesmaids and the groomsmen gifts. Like, it's like thousands of dollars
or even
of shit that you can't avoid.
The invite.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like the special package to ask somebody if they want to be your groomsman.
Exactly.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Exactly.
Stupid.
So, yeah. The big stuff, obviously we know anything with wedding attached to it is going to be expensive, but just all the other little things that you don't think about, and then you're going through the planning and you're trying to avoid doing things, but then you're like, fuck, I can't not buy this stupid piece of paper.
Right.
So annoying.
Even in a digital age.
Even in a fucking digital age.
Yes.
2, whether you like it or not, you always end up having to do shit to please other people.
Oh, 100%.
Like, especially if someone is helping you pay for all the expensive shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, your parents are helping out or whatever. Like, you're gonna end up inviting people you don't really want to invite, or having a certain type of ceremony. Mom's paying, so you have to get married at the church or whatever. Or just having a wedding in general. Like, us, if it would not have broken my mom's heart, I would have gone the city hall route 100%. I would have been totally okay with just foregoing the whole ceremony.
Yeah.
But gotta please other people, not just yourself.
Right.
It's supposed to be this big day about you guys as a couple, but really it's fucking about everybody else.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Number 3. Families suck. I don't care if you have the best relationship with your family or not. I know I come from a very jaded point of view on this, but best relationship in the world. You're gonna end up fighting with your mom on that day, or your sister, or your brother, or your grandma, or his mom, or your great aunt, or something. Like, you're gonna end up fighting with someone. There's a reason that you only fucking see these people at weddings.
And funerals.
And funerals,
yes.
Exactly.
Sorry, I missed my cue there.
Because they're insufferable.
Yes.
Now, me personally, I am not a fan of my family, so it was already a shit show to begin with. But
well, the thing that I think really spiraled out with the family, and are you getting to the point of like who to invite and who not to, and all that shit? Is that coming on your list?
Nope, go for it.
All right, so you start like, all right, yeah, we're gonna have we started as we're gonna have a small wedding.
Mm-hmm.
And that shit just got out of control so fast, especially when you're doing like a local wedding, because like you don't even have an excuse to tell somebody, I just don't want you there.
Yeah.
Because that's what it boils down to. And then you're worried about hurting people's feelings, and it's not even like that. Like people don't think about the financial impact of a wedding unless they're paying for it.
Right.
And when, you think about your wedding size and all that shit, and you're just like, all right, well, you think about the meal, right? You think, okay, 100, 150 a head, something like that. That's not where it stops.
No.
Like when somebody says, oh, it's just $150 a plate, like you're not going to invite this person.
Right.
They had such a impact on your life. And it's like, well, not really.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
I don't know why you would think that. Like I'm that person.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just gets out of control. And like, the initial thought is, oh, it's just an extra head count in the food, and no, it's not. It's so much more. It's, and I'm going to be very selfish with this. It's time.
Yeah.
It's time. Every single person that you're bringing in, I was thinking when we were doing our wedding, I'm like, yeah, well, we'll make some of this back in wedding gifts. And it's like, nope.
No, you won't.
You sure as fuck won't.
Nope.
Not if you're paying for it on your own. Now, if somebody else is paying for it,
yes,
cool. Yeah, collect your profit and run. But yeah, I'm still at a deficit quite a bit.
There's just so many things. Like you said, you say you want to have a small wedding, right? And ignore the fact that there's people around you that you don't want to invite. You get upcharged if you have less people anyway, so you're really not saving any money by having less people. You just it's so annoying.
And don't get me started on fucking plus ones.
Oh my god, I know.
Right. Everybody thinks they get a plus one.
Right.
And no, you do not get a plus one. No, that is not implied.
You're about to get a -1.
Right. Exactly. You are self-entitled. All right. One less steak.
Yes.
Entree, please.
Yeah. And someone's feelings are always going to get hurt, or you're going to do something you don't want to do to avoid hurting someone's feelings. Like, for example, I wanted my little sister to be a bridesmaid because I love my little sister and we're friends and we get along, and I wanted to hang out with her as part of the day. But unfortunately, I also have an older sister, and I could not have my little sister without asking my older sister. And I did not want my older sister to be a part of it because she's a pain in the ass. But I gave her the benefit of the doubt, and I asked her anyway. And guess what? She was a pain in my fucking ass the entire goddamn time. Mentally,
financially,
emotionally.
Yes.
it's just, families suck. That's what it boils down to. Families suck.
Yes.
My next point. So much of it is just performative.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, this may be just a me thing, but like, even writing your own vows feels so fake.
Yes.
Because you're not writing, maybe you are, but like, you're really not writing your vows to impress your groom or your bride. You're writing the vows to impress the people who are going to listen to them. I don't know. Like, something just really rubs me the wrong way about needing to declare how you feel about another person in front of other people for it to be real.
Yes. I don't like the whole show and dance part of it anyways.
Yeah.
Like, I hate all of that.
Yeah.
I don't mind being like the center of attention at times.
Mm-hmm.
But not ceremonially.
Right.
I hate that.
Yes.
Like walking across the stage to get my degree.
Yeah.
Stupid shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just give me the piece of paper.
Mm-hmm.
And the paper you gave me wasn't even real. You send that to me in the mail. Like, why are we creating this ceremony?
Yeah.
It's an accomplishment. Yeah, sure. Weddings, graduations, whatever. But it's just, I don't know. Yeah, it's just...
Yeah, it's just performative, and like, not to mention the dancing and the kissing and the expectation to be all over each other. It just gives me the icks.
Yeah, I don't think we really hung out that much on our
We didn't.
wedding night.
I wish we did, just for the sake of you are someone I want to hang out with, but we didn't do the clink your glasses and we'll kiss, and we definitely didn't do any dancing like that.
I wouldn't have done the freaking walk down the aisle thing if I had a choice. That's just so stupid.
Yes. And my last point, you do all this work, all this planning, spend all this money, get ready all day, and then you barely even get to enjoy it. Like, you have a fucking photographer bossing you around all day, telling you where to go and where to pose and how to look and look at each other and all that shit. You're too busy talking to the people that you didn't want to invite to eat the food that you spent all that fucking money on picking out. If you're me, someone keeps taking your glass away before you get to finish it, so you don't even get a real drink the entire fucking time. And everybody keeps asking you the same stupid question over and over and over again. All night, you're answering the question. How do you feel? When are you going to have kids? Who do you think is next? Is it different? Do you feel weird now that he's your husband? No, I just feel like I want to eat the food that I picked out. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is when you need your ghost hunting crew.
Exactly.
Yes. This is what their new job is. We're not protecting.
Let the bride eat.
We're not protecting against ghosts. We're protecting against family.
Yes. So anyway, that's my whole thing. You put in all this work and time and effort in dealing with the family and all the stress and all the payments and all the everything, and by the end of the day, you just want to be left alone. You just want to go back to your room and just fucking go to sleep. It's very anticlimactic.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it's just work. Like, at the end of it, you're exhausted.
Yeah,
like,
you just want to order a pizza.
Right. Like, there's no point. I don't know. I feel like we all say the same thing. We all hate the way. Well, not everybody. There's some people who have this fairy tale vision of their head, and they're just bound for disappointment in the end. I mean, like us, the wrong fucking song played when we walked down the steps. We weren't supposed to have talking parts, and then they're miking us up, and I'm explaining to them we're not talking. I don't why are you giving me mics? And then we're saying all this dumb shit in front of people. It goes wrong.
Yeah.
Things are going to go wrong in another aspect as well. So why spend $50,000 just for something to go wrong or more? I mean, I say cut it out.
Yep.
Kill it. Kill the industry.
Yep.
Mr. Wonderful, I'm sorry.
So I'm also going to say that going to weddings fucking sucks. People love to go to weddings. I do not enjoy going to weddings.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't like anything that they do.
Why does going to a wedding suck? 1, it's taking up one or more of your precious weekend days. They are seriously like an all day thing. I don't care if it doesn't start till 5 p.m. You have to spend the day getting ready, and then between the ceremony and the reception, and God forbid you have to travel
I was about to say,
get there.
it's a large majority of people will travel
Yes.
for weddings.
And fuck people who have their weddings on Fridays and Sundays. You're all going to hell. They are the worst, because then not only are you wasting that one day, you have to take off work if it's Friday, you have to take off work on Monday if it's on a Sunday. Just awful.
Yes.
Don't want to waste my time doing your stupid shit. 2, they are expensive as fuck. It's so expensive to go to a wedding.
It is unnecessarily.
Right.
Especially if you're in the wedding. That's
yes.
ridiculous.
Yes. I am so sorry to all my friends who I made be in my wedding. You've got the bridal shower gift. You've got the wedding gift. You got the stupid fucking money dance where you have to pay the bride to dance with her. That's fucking dumb. You've got the new dress that you have to buy, and the shoes that don't fit, and the hotel room that you have to book so that you can at least get blackout drunk at the open bar and pretend that you're getting your money's worth out of it.
Right, but you also have to spend extra on the hotel because you don't want to be in the hotel block with all the rest of the trash.
Exactly.
So you have to stay at the fucking W next door 4 times the price.
Yes.
Just so you don't have to deal with that shit.
Exactly.
That sounds like the worst thing in the world. A block of hotel rooms. I've never done this.
Yeah, me
and
either.
never plan to.
No.
Like, I am not going to be in close quarters with that many people.
No.
I understand we're in different rooms. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Speaking of, you're stuck in a room with a bunch of people that you don't know.
Yes.
Maybe you do know a lot of people if it's like a close friend, a family member, whatever, but likely you only know a few, and you might not even be sat at the same table with the people that you do know. So then you are just having to make small talk with the creepy uncle that won't stop trying to dance with you. Ugh. And then you have icebreaker games at the table. Have you ever been to one of those before?
No.
Where they...
Not at a wedding. It was at a funeral. No.
Where they put fucking games on the table so that you can get to know the people. I don't want to get to know you. I just want to go home. It's just awful. And then you have to watch drunk white people dance horribly all night long.
That's the best part.
Oh, is it?
Like,
is that the part you enjoy?
That is the only entertainment you get, is waiting for fucking Aunt Karen to lose her shit on the dance floor and try to fucking hook up with Tyrone while Bill's watching the whole thing.
Or watching my mom try to take all of our friends home.
Or that.
And our friends' husbands. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you're bound to that whole night. And then when you're like us and you don't want to dance, people are like, why didn't you dance? Come on, dance for it. No, I don't know you. Leave me alone.
Right.
Ugh.
Oh my God. At the last wedding, I had a woman. I don't even know who this was. Like, she was fucking faulting. Like, she was shaming me.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to get up and go dance. And I told her, I was like, look, I didn't dance at my own wedding. I'm not going to dance here.
Yeah, she was a bitch.
And then she just looks at you like, yeah.
How dare you?
When she should probably be in bed, mind you. Like, I'm not even going to say what I was going to say.
No,
Nope.
let it go.
Yep.
And finally, the food always sucks.
Yeah.
I have... okay, this is kind of a lie. I've never been to a wedding where the food didn't suck. Kind of a lie, because the food at Taylor's wedding was really good, and I still think about those chicken and waffle skewers from her cocktail hour.
That was fun.
They were
yes.
pretty banging. But like, why is the food where people always cheap out? Because when you are a wedding guest, the only incentive you have to go to this event, unless you like really like the couple, I suppose, is the open bar and the food.
Yes.
Free drinks and a free meal. That's why you go. So why are you cheaping out on the food?
Well, you know what? I'm gonna put a little caveat here, I think, because I think what happens here is there's a certain expectation that you're going to do like a higher quality meal, and you can't really do that on a plate budget.
Mm-hmm.
Like yes, you are getting steak. Yes, you are getting fish. Yes, you're getting chicken. And it sounds like it's going to be a high quality plate. But with the way that you have to prepare it and store it and serve it and all of this, it degrades the quality. And I think just the process itself.
Right. I would rather not have a fancy steak dinner and have something not fancy that
That
tastes
is
good.
exactly what I was going for.
Yeah.
Is remove the idea that you should be having steak. Like, okay, let me ask this. All right. If you want a good lobster, do you go to McDonald's to get it?
Right.
You don't. No. Going to a wedding, you're not at a seafood restaurant. You're not on the bay. The boat's not pulling up at the back door, dropping off the lobster. Okay. My point is, when you're thinking wedding, you're thinking that. When you're selecting your steak, your fish, your whatever, you're thinking that 5-star meal. But you're not paying for a 5-star meal. And that's where I think this misconception comes from. When people are like, oh yeah, we'll do steak, we'll do this, we'll do that. And then you realize that if you want to do a really good steak, it's going to cost $300, $400 a plate.
Right.
But then you end up settling for $140, $120 because you can't afford that. And because you cut that corner, you are now lowering the bar of your own food.
Guests are suffering.
So my point is that if you just start at the bottom and just get a little bit of an escalated version of that, you're not setting any precedents. You're giving people normal food that they want to eat, that they can eat in a unstructured way.
Yeah.
And it's cheaper but better. So that's what I meant by putting the main meal on a pedestal, if you will.
But you can also cheap out too far. Because remember that one that we went to that had barbecue, but all they had was pulled pork sandwiches and literally nothing else? No cocktail hour, no nothing? That was awful. That was the worst day of my life. I hated it. Every second of it. The whole point of going to a wedding and shelling out the money for the gifts is the promise of a good meal and an open bar. And it very rarely delivers on the good meal part of it. Even the cakes. Wedding cakes are usually pretty gross. They're always like so sweet and have that gross like sugary icing, and that just not fun. Our cupcakes were banging.
Yeah, cupcakes was the idea.
I can't take any credit for that because the restaurant just bought them for us. That they could have came from the grocery store for all I know. But
no, I knew where they came from. I knew where they came from.
But anyway, the whole thing is like anytime you leave a wedding, there's a 99% chance that you are stopping at McDonald's on the way home because you're starving.
For lobster.
For lobster.
Yes.
Yes. So there's my pitch that going to weddings sucks and we should all stop going to them.
Yes.
Yes. Don't invite me to your wedding. I won't come. And finally, the whole thing is kind of culty.
I could agree with that. I mean, it's a business. I mean,
yeah.
I would say it's more of a business than a cult.
Okay. Well, let me.
I get what you're saying, though.
Okay. So one of my favorite podcasts, Sounds Like a Cult, did an episode on the cult of weddings. So if you want a more in-depth description, I'll leave their episode linked in the show notes. It's really, really good. But it's true because weddings are super culty. Like, think about it. Especially as a bride. You are wearing a traditional white dress, being led down the aisle of a holy room by your father, who is literally handing your hand to another man to take ownership of. You recite ritualistic chants, and you perform ceremonial tasks. The whole thing requires witnesses and a person of higher stature in your culture to oversee it. And when it's done, you leave the room having become a whole new person. Like, does that not sound like some creepy sex cult induction to you?
Yes.
Wahoo, wahi,
but
wahoo,
so does getting a license.
Okay, well, let's talk about the cult of the DMV another day, John.
I'm just saying, it's like it's all very similar. Like, there's a lot of things that fall in that category, I think.
But you're
life
is
cultish.
culty. Yes. Okay, that's the whole point of the Sounds Like a Cult podcast. Yeah. Don't go down that rabbit hole. We're talking about weddings, John. But so, do you not agree with me though? Does it not seem like, can you not picture like if I tell you those things outside of the context of a wedding, could you not picture like a Jim Jones ceremony? Right?
No, I don't know. It's a hard thing to quantify on the spot, so I'm not going to
all right
go down the rabbit hole. I get your point.
Okay, fine.
And I do agree.
Well, there's a cult within the cult. So the cult of weddings, and then you've got the subcult, I guess, of being a bride. So the second...
That's the worst part, in my opinion,
yes,
right there.
Yeah. I hated it. The second you have that ring on your finger, you're like part of this exclusive group of people whose sole identity for the next like 18 months or so is being the bride. You can make people do things for you because you're the bride. You can force your friends to wear ugly dresses and throw penis-themed parties for you because you're the bride. You can all focus in every conversation comes back to you and your dress and your venue and your flowers and maybe, but not likely, your fiance because you're the bride. And when it's over, I know a lot of women now feel like a piece of them is missing because they're no longer this thing that they've made their entire identity around for the last year and a half. Like, I'm not going to say I didn't fall into it because I did. And I think for me, especially like being a bartender at the time that we were engaged and like having regulars and having the same conversation throughout the night with different people, it was like, it literally all I talked about at work for the year and a half that we planned the wedding was, how's the wedding planning going? Did you find a dress yet? Do you have bridesmaids? What are you guys really going to Vegas? Where are you going to stay? What are you going to do? And it just overtook my life, this identity of being the bride. And I personally did not enjoy it. I know a lot of people do. I'm not shaming anybody for enjoying it because it is a very special time, but it's very culty. You create this version of yourself that you're only going to be now and you can never be again, so you better make it good. I don't really think that happens to the groom as much.
Yeah, it was very limiting. Yeah, I didn't have much. Like, nobody really cared.
Yeah.
And plus, I mean, I think it's just my industry as well. Mm-hmm. Like, we're just really concerned about work. And
yeah, well, there's also the fact that until we got engaged, you called me the girl who lives in my house to your coworkers.
I don't remember.
They thought I was your roommate.
I don't remember when that stopped, but you were at least my girlfriend. I mean.
Anyway, that's my pitch. It's a very negative episode today, but I just have negative feelings towards weddings, and I just feel like there's not enough representation of people and women especially who just aren't down for it. And it's hypocritical as hell because here we are, two happily married people who had a pretty nice wedding telling you that your wedding sucks, but it's true. Someone has to say it.
Yeah. Agreed. Weddings do suck.
So that's it. That's all I got. I hope that I have I don't want to say I hope I've convinced anybody because I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but I hope that if you have similar feelings and have felt shamed or unsure about them, that you find comfort in the fact that you are not alone. Some
Correct.
of us just don't fucking like weddings.
Yeah, and don't worry about pissing people off. Yep. I mean, at the end of the day, this is your memory that you're building.
Yes.
And whether or not you like it, these memories are going to stick with you forever. So I would advise that you do them the way you want to do them. Mm-hmm. And even if somebody else is paying for the wedding, I would personally tell them to fucking shove it if they wanted to dictate what you were doing.
There you go.
If you want to be a part of financing this event, I accept. If you want to be a planner, you're in the wrong industry. Last time I checked, you worked at McDonald's serving lobster. So let's...
That's all, folks.
On Thick Ice is created, hosted, and produced by Emily and John Shacklet.
To join the conversation, follow us on Instagram and Twitter at OnThickIcePod, email us at onthickIcepod@gmail.com, or call our hotline, 415-494-7275. Subscribe to On Thick Ice wherever you get your podcasts.